Oh yeah, six. What do you want to debate on?
We were gonna do hiruzen versus Itachi in part one.
Okay, why do you think Itachi wins?
They're doing, bro. You know what I've realized about Aeroflame, bro? Like, he's always picking the L stance or the ratty ass fucking stance all the fucking time, bro. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, it's just crazy. Um, like, I don't know why he does that. Like, the fucking what he did with our debate, dead ass was in belief that like Sasuke could just be able to speed blitz and one shot all the entire Sound of Four, which is blatantly not shown and contradicted throughout and etc. You name it. Um, over here and all that. Like, so he took the stance of Sasuke, and then I had the Sound Four, basically all of them at once. Um, and then fucking like, and then this debate, he's taking Hiruzen and Six is doing Itachi. Like, come on, bro. Literally, the only argument you even need for Itachi versus Hiruzen, what Itachi did to Orochimaru. Orochimaru's skills to Hiruzen, they're relative, blah, blah, you name it, blah, blah. They literally had a fucking death battle. Plenty of statements to imply they're on the same level, blah, blah, you name it, etc. The Anbu, their statements, you name it. Like, there's so much evidence that they're in the same line of scaling. And only either a legendary Sonic could be able to combat against him, or Hiruzen, literally stated as well. And Minato was the only one that could have been able to defeat him effortlessly. And Minato and Itachi are in that line of a scaling where they're just way above the legendary Sonic and Hiruzen. Okay, and that's why that was also stated verbatim. Like, if only Minato was there, Orochimaru wouldn't be a problem, blah blah, etc. You name it. So, like, this is not even a debate. It's not even a discussion, which is probably why it's only 27 minutes long. So either Six slammed this man, or it was good and even on both, or Arrow somehow pulled it off and won. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be real with you. If Arrow won, I'm going to say he won. If Six won, I'm going to say he won. So we'll see what happens, and let's get it.
I just think like Itachi skills over
Appreciate it,
Orochimaru
Loki.
still equal to Hiruzen.
I think Orochimaru. I think he was in skills above Orochimaru.
Okay. Why do you think Hiruzen skills over Orochimaru? Do I need to send the statement, or are you aware of it?
Wait, y'all need to set the rules before the debate. Like, just.
Why is there a six?
Yeah, do you want to set a time limit or anything?
Oh my god. I'm not trying to be mean, but I did not expect a low, squeaky voice out of nowhere.
If you have to be busy, we can set one, but other than that, I don't mind.
Yeah, I don't care to set one.
Alright.
Do you want to choose judges now or later?
I don't really know any judges in here.
Yeah, you just want to choose them after then?
Sure.
Alright.
I'd slap True.
Chop. Get to the debate. Hurry up. Over here.
Guys, why do you think Itachi wins?
Is True playing? What?
And also another thing, Itachi is the strongest in part one, by the way. For anybody that didn't know that, Itachi is literally the strongest. Not only does he defeat Orochimaru no diff effortlessly, he also, literally, it's also stated verbatim by Orochimaru and Kabuto that Itachi is stronger than him, which is the whole reason why he wants Sasuke's body, the whole reason why he's fascinated and obsessed with the Uchiha bloodline, you name it. So, just putting that out there, connect the dots, not rocket science.
Because, like I said earlier, Itachi skills over Orochimaru, who's stated equal to Hiruzen.
Yep.
Yeah, do you have the statement where they're equal?
Yeah, I got you. Let me grab it.
Let's see what Arrow says from here. I'm curious, because that's already a solid good point to make.
I'm gonna send in scan to one.
So what I've already basically said, like, literally what he's saying is already what I already thinked and predicted, and what I would even use as arguments and etc. And there's much more you could do, but like I said, that's the only really line of arguments you need, and that's it. The debate's over. Like, you would have to really pull something out of your ass to counter or effectively provide a just as strong as argument, as what's being given by Six.
Where does it say it?
It's right there under the picture of Hiruzen. It says the two shinobi were equally matched and the battle seemed endless.
Yep. That's why it lasted for an hour as well. And the Anbu members even say, like, wow, like, this is unheard of. It's extremely rare for a battle to ever last this long. It's been, I think they said either hours or an hour. And obviously Hashirama and Madara have the record for that, the goal of them how long, and then eventually Six past Sasuke and Naruto eventually accomplished that same goal as well, where it was like for like a full fucking day, So, like, It's unheard of and it's not common at all, blah, blah. But yeah, so like that's even just further evidence. There's a second part to the debate you were watching. Really? I didn't know that. Okay. I'll look it up then. I'll look it up and make sure to add it to my watch later. I didn't know that. Or if you can find the link, send it to me, bro, and I'll put it in there.
Okay, the two strong were equally matched in the battle scene Endless, and then we see that they weren't equally matched in the battle ends.
Wait, what?
Why are they not equally matched?
Yeah, what?
Because the moment that hiruzen begins fighting with his full power, he blitzes him and rips his...
That's when he gets mentally amped. Like, that's when he finally gets bloodlusted, and he also has a mental amp because he's so disgusted with Orochimaru with, like, his experiments, his like, ideology, you name it, etc. Like, he just finally has, like, he finally lets loose, like, basically lets go his bond and feelings and attachments to Orochimaru. Like, it was still there, obviously, but he finally, like, you know, shuts it in. You know what I mean? Just shuts it out, and it's like, all right, I'll do what I need to fucking do, what I should have done years ago. You know what I mean? When he had the opportunity before. So, you know, like, and then he goes, and that's it, but he doesn't, like, just, like, straight up speed blitz. Like, he just basically goes blow for blow. Orochimaru is still keeping up, you name blah, blah, and then eventually he gets the upper hand, then Orochimaru gets the upper hand, then they both get the upper hand at the same time, and then now it's a fucking life and death situation. It can go either way. So that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, huh? Like, if you're going to use a lot of evidence for a character eventually getting the upper hand in a fight, like, okay, hiruzen does the same, Orochimaru does the same, and appreciate it, okay? I'll make sure to add it.
Yep.
Like, that's the bullshit Arrow be doing, bro. Like, he's such a ratty ass debater. Alright. Like, I'm not saying, like, I'm gonna be real too. Like, I'm not saying Arrow Flame is just only a ratty debater or like Noodles or shit like that. I'm not gonna go that far because I haven't seen enough of debates with him and etc. You know, but from what I've seen so far, like with the debate he wanted to do with me, and then this debate, like, it's like, come on, man. You know, it's like, come on. Like, actually pick a fucking W stance for once and actually slam a rat or slam someone that doesn't clearly know what they're talking about, you know, instead of picking an L stance or picking something that he more than definitely probably even agrees as well, but he just wants to debate, you know. Nothing wrong with that, with debating either, but it is annoying in a sense. Alright, Oh, I don't want to copy it. Just want to add it to my watch later. There we go. There we go. Alright, I added it. Appreciate it, okay. I'll eventually watch the Spencer one too. Eventually. Bro, why is it like a long period? It's not, holy shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, edit that shit out, bro. Like, I'm gonna be real with though, I do the same fucking shit and during my debates. Like, if it's a debate, 9 out of 10 times I'm not even gonna do any edits because then someone could have the audacity to be like, oh, you tampered with the recording, so we don't know, whatever, blah, blah, you know. That's why I don't even edit at all. So that's probably why they didn't edit it, to make sure transparency and integrity is being applied. But at the same time, bro, like, if there's like a moment of, like, a long moment of silence, as long as you have the raw recording and someone was to make that baseless claim or accusation, then you could just show them the raw recording and then there you go. You know, they're fucking like an idiot, you know, so it is what it is, but I understand why people do that, and I do the same thing too, so. Spencer versus D1? That was actually a thing? Wow. Wait, oh, that was Spencer versus D1. Interesting, okay. Who wins the debate? Was it Spencer or D1? Interesting. Yeah, Spencer, I know Spencer's a good debater. I haven't even seen or anything, but I've heard from some people that he's a good debater. And then D1, from what I've seen and experiences, he's also a really good debater. Spencer slammed? Damn. Oh, shit. I might have to DM D1 and be like, hey, I'm about to watch this debate video. Did Spencer slam you or nah? Like, it's all good if he did. I'm going to see what he says then. Knowing him, like, I don't know.
Alright, I'm gonna post it for you right now.
D1, he's not like, I haven't seen like enough to really come to the conclusion whether if he is an egotistical person or anything, etc. Or very prideful, or arrogant, or whatever. But from what I've seen, he's basically just he just keeps it real. He keeps it 100%. You know what I mean? Like he's just straightforward and that's it. Whatever. Very simple. He's a very simple, straightforward person. And there was a moment where he was even humble, where he commented on my reaction video, and he actually said, "Thank you, blah blah, for your thoughts and your opinion, blah blah, etc." And even though, but I'm gonna be real with you, like back then around this time, like I was an ass debater, yada yada, etc. and just etc. etc. I mean, so he was like humble and even like admitted to him like being like poop back then, So like he is a humble person. Like he does have tendencies and human traits to like indicate whether or not if he either loses or wins, whatever. Like, so I'll give him that at the very least. So, if he does know that he lost that debate, then he'll probably admit it, or he'll be like, "Nah, fuck that guy, I still beat him." And then if I watch it and he lost, I'm gonna be like, "D1, you didn't win, bro." So, but it is what it is.
Sure.
Oh my God, they're taking forever.
What's his name? Sorry.
The fuck? His mic is fucking dying.
He already has a soul in the palm of his hand. Like, do you see the whole exchange?
Yeah, you cut out whenever you were like whatever you were just saying.
Robot.
Okay, so they have an exchange. Hiruzen's able to knock his sword away, and then before he's able to react, he already has his soul in his hand.
Well, no, okay, well, here. So we see them like keep up with each other in terms of like hand-to-hand, or not hand-to-hand combat, but kinjutsu, right? And then
the sword gets knocked out of his hand.
Yeah, I heard you. So we see the sword get knocked away, and then Hiruzen uses like Enma to go at Orochimaru, and he like reacts to Enma, of course. But then like Hiruzen gets up on him. We see Orochimaru.
Yeah, before Orochimaru can react, yes.
No, but we see him become aware of it.
Yeah, but his soul has already been grabbed.
That's fine, but all he used to get up on him was
couldn't react, right?
But all he used to get up on him was travel speed.
Yeah, but he still couldn't react to him. Is what I'm saying.
But we see him react.
Yeah,
he can't react.
Sense.
He clearly can't, because by the time he was able to react.
Okay, so Six is already getting this point. So basically, what Arrow's bitching about is at that particular moment when Orochimaru finally gets the upper hand, he's basically saying, "Oh, he wasn't able to react." But then what Six is saying to basically refute that is, well, he has consistently shown that he can react over and over and over to Orochimaru, and vice versa, Orochimaru to Hiruzen. So therefore, that's redundant. That doesn't matter. Okay, he clearly has enough combat and reaction speed to fight with this Orochimaru. Okay, and Arrow's whole argument so far was, oh, when Hiruzen eventually gets serious, blah, blah, whatever, which is when he gets his mental amp, by the way, and he's willing to finally kill Orochimaru, okay, like, they're still reacting to each other and going blow for blow. Like, it's literally in the manga, and in the anime even shows even more relativity and etc. So, that's basically what you get, at a grain of salt. You know what I mean? So, Six definitely has his point so far. Now, Eric could still be able to maybe get it somehow, but we're going to listen and watch. But yeah, definitely in agreement with Six. Like, if I was a judge, Six definitely has that point. Like, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter. All because a character has an upper hand at a particular moment doesn't mean, therefore, at all times, that would always be the case. No, that's not how that works.
Hiruzen's already pulled off the Reaper.
That's like, an example. That's like, Kakashi when he got the upper hand in Kakuzu. Therefore, Kakashi could always speed blitz and get the upper hand in Kakuzu. No, because they literally fight, they show relativity, blah, blah, they keep going and going and going, and eventually Kakuzu gets the upper hand. You know what I mean? So, that's not how that works. Like, you can't say a character just scales over due to one moment that they have the upper hand. That's also like saying Zabuza can always be able to speed blitz Kakashi whenever Zabuza had the upper hand, or vice versa. Like, apparently Kakashi cannot always speed blitz Zabuza when he had the upper hand. Like, that makes no fucking logical sense. And the craziest thing is, I've actually debated someone back then in the past that actually had this type of mentality. Okay, when it was about Zabuza and Kakashi, I think it was Geese who was debating. Excuse me. And he was basically pulling the same bullshit that Arrow was pulling. Like, he was bringing up a moment where, Zabuza gets the upper hand, and I'm like, all right, great. And I show all the moments where Kakashi gets the upper hand, and show also plenty of relativity, plenty of feats where they can react to each other, etc., you name it. That's it. You know what I mean? So his whole argument and scaling was, counterintuitive. Doesn't fucking matter because I just showed all the fucking evidence in the world to prove that they're clearly in the same level. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? So it was just fucking dumb. And then eventually there was like a laws of physics discussion over the fact of like Zabuza having a big fucking sword and Kakashi having a little kunai, so blah blah. And that was a whole little ratty ass fucking discussing schematics and fucking you name it. It's like, bro, that doesn't fucking matter. You're talking about people that can use chakra to perform superhuman fucking feats, and Sugetsu was able to still take the fucking sword from his back and wield it just fast enough to where fucking Obito could easily just use his arm and react and block. Like, that's not an excuse for Zabuza, all because it's a long and, potentially heavy sword. Like, what the fuck? That's stupid. So, like, I don't know what it is, but there's debaters that will literally nitpick shit or, try to provide upper hand, like moments where a character has the upper hand at that particular moment, and then therefore, scale's over. Like, that's so blatantly ignorant. That's ignoring context. That's ignoring the overall feats and just ignoring the overall narrative. You can't do that. It's a definition of being a rat,
No.
Yes. What are you talking about? That's literally what happens on the panel.
But I see hiruzen, right? He like gets up on Oro, then in the
And he has the soul in his hand. Correct.
Okay, but even if this like was the case, right? This would just be travel speed. They can keep
And he's able to blitz him. He's able to blitz him still.
Orochimaru is focused on Enma.
But we've already said. So what do you say? Wait. So now you're saying that he was focused on Enma. So which are you saying now? That he was distracted? You saying he's distracted now?
Exactly.
Okay. So you realize that all this thing while Heroes is not only Enma's too heavy for him to hold, but he's also has his chakra split
God
up.
Damn, Alpha has a fucking doggy poo mic. At least the man eventually was able to find a job, maybe at McDonald's or something, and then eventually, kind of fucking buy a good mic. Holy shit. Like, bro, that shit's worse than Noodles. I thought Noodles had a fucking shit mic. Because I know he works at, I think it's Little Caesars or something? Like, dead ass. Like, someone found out where, he actually works and everything. Like, he works at a fucking pizza fast food place. And his mic is horrendous. Oh my god. Like, I literally told the guy, I'll buy you a fucking mic, But holy shit, Arrow. Fix your shit.
Amongst the shadow clones.
His chakra split up amongst the shadow clones. What are you trying to imply? He's weakened?
He's weakened.
Why do you think splitting chakra would be a shadow clone?
Because the Anbu says that.
Bruh, this is literally the argument that me and Arrow got into over the shadow clones all over again. And that was his whole thing and everything. And then I had to argue and basically explain why does it matter, yada yada, etc. The whole fucking 9 yards. Because Arrow is literally his brain is so small to where he literally can't understand. All because you literally make shadow clones and the chakras being diversed into equal proportions, etc. Doesn't mean they can't use chakra control and be able to literally show consistency of consistently doing feats that are on the same level as the original fucking person that cast the shadow clones. If that was the case and they were that fucking weak, then it would be literally counterintuitive and they wouldn't do anything. They would just get shit on all the fucking time. And that's not the case. Didn't happen with Kiba. Didn't happen with Sasuke. Didn't happen with fucking, with X and Y and Z people. Mitsuki, who's a fucking tuning. There's so many examples. You know what I mean? There's only fucking 2 people that were actually able to shut down Naruto shadow clones whenever he did a shit ton amount. And that was Neji and Kimamaru. That's it. So it's fucking stupid.
Anbu and Orochimaru says that using the shadow clone jutsu weakens.
What he says is that basically using the shadow clone jutsu at Hiruzen's old age would be throwing away chunks of chakra.
Correct. I'm glad Six mentioned that because that's the actual reason and etc. So, Arrow can be able to convey a type of argument to show why the shadow clones can be weaker, blah blah, because there's many ways to prove that shadow clones can be weaker. That's fine. A perfect example, an easy way to even just show that argument and then to kind of make Six in a pickle, okay, is whenever Zabuza does his water clones, it literally is stated verbatim that it has 1/10 of its strength compared to the original user. Stated verbatim by Kishimoto. And then Kakashi eventually has a statement verbatim to where he says, oh, guess what? If Zabuza, I can't really do anything in this situation because even if I went to go help Sasuke and Naruto, Zabuza would just do a water clone, or if I do a shadow clone, Zabuza would just do a water clone and then it wouldn't get anywhere and still be a stalemate. Meaning also further proving that even shadow clones are in the same level of power, meaning 1/10 of the original. So, like, that's just some evidence. There's many other ways to go the route of proving why the shadow clones are weaker, etc., whatever. Many ways to do it, okay? But regardless, I'm pretty sure he's not going to do that. He's just going to continue arguing about this and whatever the schematics and you name it. But that's just, putting that out there. Now, if you're on the side of trying to argue why that doesn't matter and things like that, which is also possible and you can do, then you can talk about chakra control. You can talk about the consistency of feats being successful against opponents. Literally, Naruto is always successful when he does shadow clones. If it was that weak and that trash or redundant, then why would it, Like, what's the fucking point? That doesn't make sense, so X, Y, and Z. So regardless, there's ways to combat against, whatever, yada, yada. You can always be able to go back and forth. It just depends who argues better and who debates better. But either way, it is what it is. So, but let's continue. Let this go for a good bit. I'm not going to pause it as much. I know I'm doing a lot of pauses.
When he doesn't really have that chakra to spare in his old age, right? So
what does that mean?
Here, like a decrease in chakra. Could you understand?
Yeah, I know it's a water clone, okay, but Kakashi states verbatim that even if he does his shadow clone, Zabuza would just counter with a water clone. So meaning, if the shadow clones were so much let's say then you're making the assertion that shadow clones are stronger than a water clone. Okay, that wouldn't make any sense because then his shadow clone should be enough to deal and instantly deal with that water clone, and then still go or still go to be able to help Sasuke and Naruto while they're fighting Haku. And that wasn't the case. Kakashi basically says verbatim, if I do that, then he'll just counter and there'll be nothing to just make it useless, and I'll be wasting chakra for no reason. So basically, with that information provided in the beginning of Naruto, that just goes to show that shadow clones are basically either equal to a water clone, which is stated verbatim to have 1/10 of its of power compared to the original, or you can at least say bare minimum, lowball wise, relative, whatever. But at the end of the day, okay, great if it's relative, but even if it was relative, then the shadow clone should still eventually be able to get the upper hand and beat the water clone if it's that much weaker. You get what I'm saying? Come on. So that's all I'm saying with that. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying or not, but yeah.
There's still 100% chakra all the time.
If you're curious on those scans too as well, it's on my Discord and the Shadow Clones channel. It's in there and you'll find it too.
They're not exhausting 100% of their chakra with every jutsu, right?
Yeah, but they they don't even have access to the 100%.
Of course, they're what are you talking about? The gates and whatnot, right? Of course.
Yeah. Okay. So then a decrease in chakra doesn't necessarily have to make you weaker.
So you think that a decrease in chakra doesn't make you weaker?
Not all the time, no. I think it needs to.
All right. When do you think a decrease in chakra? Okay, what amount?
It probably
Itachi's a perfect example. He was using jutsu and chakra, and he's not drastically weaker to where he loses. Kakashi is an example. He can do techniques and and whatever jutsu, and he's still able to fight strong opponents, whatever, blah blah. And the reason why 6 is technically right, so this is really important. Either Arrow's gonna get this point or 6 is gonna get this point. So the way 6 can get the point is basically talking about chakra control. If you have very good chakra control, even if you are using jutsu and chakra and you name it, as long as you can utilize your chakra control, which is literally stated verbatim and explained by Ibizu or whatever, I can't remember the fucking name. It's that elite Jonin that is over Konohamaru that eventually gives Naruto the whole speech about chakra control and stamina and you name it. So it's literally all explained, you name it, blah blah, all the evidence is out there. I'm not just making this shit up. But either way, even if you are using jutsu and your stamina, blah blah, whatever, yes, you will get technically weaker in a sense and get fatigued, blah blah, you name it. But if you have good enough chakra control, even while being weak and fatigued, you can still be able to perform, fight, and still give your opponent a run for their money. Now, eventually, the more longer you go and the more fatigued and weaker you get and the more chakra and stamina you're using, then yeah, there eventually will be a point where no matter how much of good chakra control you have, you're just going to get fucked. Pain's a prime example. That motherfucker ran a whole marathon and eventually got so exhausted to the point where he fell on his fucking knees and couldn't move and dodge a fucking Rasengan that was being thrown at him. So regardless, that there you go. So Arrow's technically correct. I mean, you do get weaker, okay, and fatigue. That is a thing. Come on now. But what 6 is basically what he might either convey or what he might not, I don't know, is if you have good chakra control, then that basically can, compensate for those cons, if that makes sense.
It differs from shinobi to shinobi.
Okay, so you don't know. You have no quantification.
No.
All right. So I think that just however many shadow clones that
Wait, did Six just like say? I
The
think he just
difference
lost that
from
point
Shinobi
then.
to Shinobi.
Okay, so you don't know. You have no quantification.
No.
All right. So I think that.
So Six says it's just different from Shinobi to Shinobi. Okay, you got to explain. That's very vague and that doesn't prove anything, which is why Arrow just come back and said, okay, so you don't know, so we can move on, blah, blah, basis claim, basically. So, yeah, definitely agree with Arrow. Arrow has that point at that point. So, unless Six, decides to say something, whatever, blah, blah, then it is what it is. But as of now, Arrow does have that point.
Just however many shadow clones that Sarutobi makes is significant enough because the Anbu comments on it. What's your counter to that?
No. What the Anbu says is that he's throwing away chunks of chakra, right?
Right. He's throwing it away, chunks of chakra that he's going to need, right?
That he could use like later in the fight, yeah. But that doesn't mean it's making him fatigued. It's just like, okay, Hiruzen can't fight at this level
Yeah,
for long.
I'll get you the thing that asserts they're fatigued. I'll get it for you.
Sure.
I have evidence to that.
Like, Arrow's not understanding what Six is saying. When they literally explain
how much
that.
chakra do you think they put in the shadow?
Fucking, let me pull up my Discord. I'll
It says it's
pull
spread
it up
out
right now.
equally
Like,
amongst
deadass.
them.
Yeah, among the clones.
So if he had, no, it said, is it amongst the clone or is it among the user? I
From
think
what
it's
I
the user and the
remember,
clone.
the only thing I remember is like whatchamacall, Neji's statement, and his statement is that they're like split evenly amongst the clones.
I'll just Google it. We can. So here's the. It's actually not just his chakra. It says shortening his lifespan. I think that's why I think it's fatigue. Like it's directly his energy.
Lifespan.
Yeah, like it's shortening.
Bro,
his
somebody's
lifespan.
playing a video game while they're debating. I don't know if that's Arrow or Six.
I just posted it.
Okay.
I knew there was a reason. And then let me go look up the shadow clone feat.
Okay, so I have it right here. I'm gonna show my computer screen real quick instead of So I have it right here. You guys should be able to see this, and then I'll let the audio keep playing. Okay, so I'm gonna pause that actually because they're talking. I want to make sure I'm paying attention and listening, so I have a proper judgment. But basically, right here is like I can't believe you leaped right in without even using shadow clones, whatever, blah blah. And then the Anbu guy is like, no, it isn't that he's not using them, but rather that he cannot. That the amount of chakra Lord possesses has declined since his use. So basically, what they're saying is because he's so old, blah blah. That's why the amount of chakra he possesses, blah blah, whatever is kind of limited and restricted. So due to like the shadow doppelganger technique, which splits one's chakra into equal pieces if things go wrong. If that's really big. So this is what Six is saying. But Arrow's not fucking listening. What Arrow is basically focusing on is to know it isn't that blah blah and etc. Okay, great. That's good for Arrow. But what eventually is stated afterwards, it says, what's it called? But it says if things go wrong, it's like throwing away chunks of chakra, which is literally what Six already explained. It said verbatim. So meaning if it goes wrong, then yes, it could be dimensional. Like it can be really bad and actually fuck Hiruzen over. Okay, it's like a double-edged sword, basically, like the gates, the first technique, you name it. Okay, and that's if it goes wrong. And it didn't go wrong when Hiruzen did the shadow clones, so he was perfectly fine and not like crazy fatigued or weakened or whatever, and was still able to fight or whatever, and you name it, and utilize his shadow clones to be able to effectively deal with the Edo Tensei, eventually seal them, etc., you name it. So that's basically all this is saying. So Six is definitely winning that point. Now I can't see any scans, whatever, blah blah. But from what I'm listening to so far, Six definitely has that as of now. Unless somehow, some way, Arrow can pull something and misconstrue it, or somehow make it go in his favor, and then Six doesn't realize and pay attention, or doesn't do well enough to either combat or argue against, and then basically from there, he'll just lose a point, even though it's really fucking simple to prove and win. But so far from what Six has been saying, you name it, etc., blah blah, he is correct. And what Arrow is saying, he is not correct. Like, he's correct to a degree, but he's completely forgetting about the whole other thing that's literally in this fucking statement here. So, but we'll just kind of leave it at that, and that's it. But let's get back to the video. All right. Ooh la la. Nope, get out of here. How do I even have that? Like, what the fuck? Okay. So, we're gonna get back.
Jutsu or because of the Reaper Death Seal?
This is before he's used the Reaper Death Seal.
It is, okay.
Yeah. He uses the Reaper Death Seal, the next page.
What chapter is this?
122.
122.
As of now, though, so far 6 is winning the debate, though. Arrow did get 1 point, but 6 got all the other points. And not only that, Arrow didn't, what's it called? Like, obviously the most important point to win when in the line of scaling in this debate is going to be whether or not if they're equal to each other or relative to each other, which that's what 6 is basically showing, talking about, etc., you name it, blah, 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 which he's done a very great job in basically showing, etc. While Arrow, I already explained everything what he did and yada yada, so he lost that point and all those points. That's the biggest one. So unless Arrow can somehow get something at, whatever, some crazy argument or scan or whatever, blah, blah, to shut it all down with before, then, it's possible for a comeback. But as of now, he hasn't said anything just yet. And then eventually they went over, some other points. 6 is basically still winning, whatever. And then it came to, the point beforehand. Arrow won that because 6 didn't basically provide or whatever, show anything, yada, yada. And then now we're to the point of this whole hiruzen clone fucking shit and you name it. So, and the reason why Arrow's trying to go in that direction is because basically what he's trying to say and prove, okay, what his argument is that if hiruzen is making these clones and it's making them drastically weaker, fatigue, blah, blah, whatever, yada, yada, and we know, the clones will be weaker, blah, blah, therefore, if they could still be able to fight and, react to Hashirama, Tobirama, or then even combat against Orochimaru and, create a W situation, therefore, hiruzen scales over Orochimaru, and he was just holding back, and he wasn't, and that's it, and what's it called, and Orochimaru doesn't actually scale to him. You know what I mean? So that's basically the direction, line of reasoning, arguments he's trying to do, which, okay, that's fine. That's an understandable line of reasoning. You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to argue for hiruzen, that's fine, respectable. But if you're a good debater, then you can easily be able to debunk and shut that down. 6 is doing a pretty good job so far. And like I said, there's narrative statements you can use. There's literally feats with Itachi, Orochimaru, you name it. Verbatim statements with Orochimaru, you name it, etc. The whole fight with hiruzen and Orochimaru, data book stuff. There's so much you can use to easily prove that, what basically 6's argument is and etc. So, but that's basically what you got. But let's continue.
Okay, so you think that he's saying, okay, since hiruzen uses the Shadow Clone Jutsu here, that the Shadow Clone Jutsu is like shortening his lifespan?
Yeah, that's what he says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's referring to the fact that hiruzen is throwing away these chunks of chakra, which would shorten his lifespan because he's gonna get beaten quicker.
No, I think that's just too much stuff. So I'm gonna invoke another Aqua's Razor.
Okay, so they're both at a standstill right now because all 6 has to do is just get that fucking scan and read it verbatim, and he would immediately be able to win that point. But instead, 6 is doing an incredible job explaining before and you name it, and I don't know what the fuck happened now. He just flipped a switch, and now he's just basically providing his interpretation of when the Anbu was speaking and making that certain statement that hiruzen, actually wasted chunks of chakra, and Arrows has another interpretation of what he thinks, okay, and overall none of them have concretely proven or shown that, when you could easily concretely prove what is actually happening and what's actually going on, okay. You just got to word it right and then show the evidence, all right. And then what 6 just said is not good. That actually helps Arrow, because if 6 just admitted that hiruzen is throwing away chunks of chakra, that he fucked up, okay, then that would strengthen Arrow's argument. So I don't know why that's 6's interpretation. That doesn't make any sense. That's dumb. Why would you, you don't want to say that, okay? And like I said and read before, okay, the Anbu literally said verbatim, just to make sure, okay, I'm not tripping as well. Okay, it was, yeah, if things go wrong. So if it goes wrong, if hiruzen actually does that, which he doesn't, and there's evidence to prove that concretely. So I don't know why 6 went in that direction, but whatever. We'll let it go, and we'll just go from here.
Hmm?
You're adding too many assumptions.
Okay, but even if it is shortening his lifespan, right? Is this taking away from like say like, okay, if Hiruzen's supposed to live to 80, right? Does he now live to 77? Like, what does it mean when it's like shortening his lifespan? Because this
Okay,
doesn't have
that's a
to
fair
mean he's
argument.
fatigued
Yep.
either.
From what they were saying in the
What do you
statement,
think
that
it
makes
means?
sense.
Like I just said, like what is it referring to? Like, is it that
Right,
he
I've
could
already
live
I've
to
already
80?
told you what I think. I've already told you why I think that. So what do you think it means?
He just said it. What do you mean?
Yeah, you'd provide me a different interpretation with evidence.
Okay. Well, I think that since since Shinobi don't have access to 100% of their chakra at any given time anyway, that this loss in chakra doesn't have to make him fatigue. So that would
Yeah,
just be
he's
like
clearly not. He
the
can fight and
support
fight
for
and
my
fight right after
interpretation.
doing that.
But
Like,
you that's not saying anything. You didn't say anything just now. Like, what do you mean by that?
wait, what do you mean he didn't just say anything? He just told you what he. Six literally just said verbatim that, like, what's it called? It's his ball, like, he's not clearly getting weaker, blah, blah, yada, yada, yada. Okay. And then Arrow's like, no, like, you didn't say anything. You didn't say anything. What? He just said something. And it's literally proven further because of Hiruzen. He's literally able to fight. His shadow clones are able to fight and do things as well consistently over and over. Okay, you name it. So, meaning he's clearly not fucked from using the shadow clones. He didn't mess up or do it wrong. Like, what?
Oh, because they don't have 100% access to their chakra doesn't necessarily mean he's fatigued. What does that mean? Like that
I'm
wasn't like
saying that a loss in
that
chakra
you didn't come
doesn't
to a
have to
logical
mean.
conclusion there.
I'm saying that a loss in chakra, since they don't have access to all of it anyway, doesn't have to mean that he's fatigued.
Right, but this isn't just a normal loss of chakra. It's directly taking away from his lifespan. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're discussing.
You're
So
saying
why do you think? Yeah,
Yeah,
why do you think
Arrow's
that's
not understanding. So I'm gonna simplify it, and I'm just gonna keep letting this play. On God, I promise. So basically, what Arrow's saying is like, oh, it's clearly in the lifespan, blah blah. So he's just getting weaker, fatigue, blah blah, all this crap, whatever. He needs that obviously to strengthen his arguments. Six is like, no, that's not the case, blah blah. So as an example, when it says like shorten his lifespan and blah blah, so instead of him living to like 80 something years old or 90, now he's only gonna be able to live up to like 70 something, which is understandable and a fair interpretation. So overall, that's basically a lot of reasoning. And then what Six just said beforehand, okay, is further supported with what Hiruzen does with the Shadow Clones and what he's able to do as well. So as of now, Arrow's not getting this at all. He's just not understanding and comprehending, and Six is definitely having that advantage.
not making him fatigued?
Okay. Well, I just gave like my reason why, and
Yeah,
then
he
You
gave
gave
his
a
reasoning.
reasoning as to why the loss of chakra wouldn't make you fatigued. This obviously isn't just the normal
yeah,
chakra loss.
I
And
gave an
you also
alternate
said
interpretation.
you also said earlier that a certain amount of chakra loss can make you fatigued.
Mm-hmm.
So why is this not the threshold? Where do you think you start getting fatigued from
Well,
chakra
you're
loss?
saying that he is fatigued. I'm just
I'm
saying
just
that.
asking you questions. Stop talking about me. I want to know more about what you're saying because you haven't elaborated on anything.
He did.
Okay,
He did.
basically, right? Him
And
shortening
see,
his
and
life.
that's the little snappy attitudes that Arrow likes to do. Like the man literally, like, I don't know what it is. It's either like his ego or like, I don't know, just pride. I don't fucking know. Arrogance. I don't know. But like when he eventually starts getting pushed into a corner, or he's becoming, or he's at an impasse with someone, he'll start getting really snappy, really smart ass, or doing a certain attitude or remarks that have a certain tone in his voice, and it's like, bro, like there's certain people that are just not the one to deal with that. I mean, they're either going to reciprocate and give you the same energy you're giving them, or they'll dismiss it and be the bigger person and just be mature. You know what I mean? Like I don't know why he does that. You know what I mean? Like I really don't. Like he's not comprehending and listening and understanding, so now he's going to start getting a little frustrated and annoyed. Like what? Like how does that work, dude? Like the man acts like he's like some fucking entity or superior god, bro.
It doesn't have to be in reference to what you call. You're saying like the shortening lifespan is in reference to fatigue, yes? Or am I
Yes.
misunderstanding? Okay.
Yes.
I'm saying that doesn't have to be in reference to fatigue. It can also be in reference to the fact that he's like say was gonna live to 80, but now he can only live to like 75. Because Shinobi don't have access to all of their chakra anyway. So a decrease doesn't have to make you fatigued.
Okay, what is an instance where do you think Shinobi start getting fatigued? At what point?
Like I said earlier, it would just be like on a shinobi to shinobi basis.
Okay, so you have nothing. Why do you think? What? Can you give me another instance where a jutsu kicks off years from your life? Can you give me another instance?
So 6, like, what's interesting when he said the shinobi basis, or it differs depending on who it is. So he's correct, but he needs to elaborate on that. So basically, what 6, I already know what he's trying to say and what he means is, like, as an example, Naruto, since his chakra control is so shit, blah blah, whatever, yada yada. Whenever he does jutsu, you name it, whatever, he's using up so much chakra and stamina, which is bad because the more chakra and stamina you use, the more tired and fatigued you're gonna get. Okay. And etc. And the more harder it is going to be for you to combat against your opponent. While with soccer, since she has incredible chakra control, you know what I mean, with her doing things, you know, whatnot, she's going to barely lose any stamina and any chakra, okay, and then still have so much juice to go. And then with incorporating and using chakra, even if she has a small chakra pool or not that much stamina compared to like Sasuke or Naruto, etc., okay, she can still be able to be as equally as effective with techniques or be able to punch stronger, move quicker, you name it. Like, it's literally shown and consistently proven over and over if you have very good chakra control. Okay, Itachi is also another perfect example. Sanada is a good example. So, that's what he's basically saying, you know what I mean? But Arrow is, like, confused or being like, okay, so you just said that, so that's his basis. You're not really proving or explaining whatever, so I'm just going to dismiss that. That's completely understandable. Like he needs, like, 6 needs to elaborate on that. So 6 is not, I guess that's the one point that he's not getting, that Arrow did win that I said beforehand, because he's not elaborating or proving that. It's easily you could prove that and explain and then just move on. Whether if Arrow agrees or disagrees or still doesn't understand, then just ask, all right, well, if you think you won the point or whatever, we can just move on. You want to move on, and then just go from there. You know what I mean? And that's it. Simple. So
the shadow clone jutsu takes off years from your life.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so I'm just going to dismiss that point then. So is there, because it doesn't have any evidence, no bearings on it, it's just nonsense.
Huh?
It's a point without any sort of evidence. You've given your interpretation. I've given my interpretation. Let's just move on to the next point.
That wasn't an interpretation. He provided actual facts and concrete evidence, and he literally, like, the scan is there, and he said it and showed it. While you're giving your interpretation of what you think and believe, because you need that to be the case in order for your argument to make sense and be stronger than his, and that's not the case. So no, that's just you being ignorant and being basically stubborn. You know what I mean? In denial. So no, that's not how a debate works, Arrow. Like, but okay.
To whoever judges. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, literally, leave it to the judges.
That was the speed point. What else do you want to go over?
What does hiruzen do against Tsukuyomi?
He just wouldn't look in his eyes. He would have mastered anti-Sharingan techniques, like Guy did.
Why?
Because he knows all techniques in the Leaf Village.
Fair.
Can you
Fair. Hiruzen is a smart guy.
Yeah.
Is there still a debate, by the way? Or?
That's a fair argument.
Yeah.
So that's pretty strong from Arrow. So let's see what 6 does and says. Now, if I was arguing for Itachi, then you could just easily argue that, okay, well, he just scales so much over and faster, he would just force Hiruzen to look into his eyes. You know what I mean? And that's it. You know, kind of like what Madara did with the Raikage, you know, and et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? So, like, that's just kind of a way, you know, you can go about it. You know, and either way, if you scale over someone so much and you're superior, whether if it's by speed, power, you name it, okay, yeah, Itachi would be able to force Hiruzen to look in his fucking eyes. Now, what Hiruzen would have to do in order for that not to happen, because if someone scales over you, he would need to have his eyes closed. But if he closes his eyes, he doesn't have fucking Sage Mode or any sensory abilities like Tobirama, etc., you name it, so he's basically fucked. So he needs to keep his eyes open and do what Guy, whatever, does. But see, the only problem, though, is when it comes, like, let's say we grant that to Hiruzen, because he is intelligent. Like, I'll definitely admit that he's intelligent enough to be able to do a strategy like that. But the problem is whether if he could be effective and execute that, though. We know Guy can, because he's trained and trained and trained and trained. What's good, Spooky? What's good, bro? But, you know, like, Hiruzen, like, do you really think, you know, that would be the case? It's possible. We don't have any statements to indicate that. We don't have any, you know, like, actual, like, concrete evidence to show, like we have for Guy. But, like, possibility-wise, like, based on, like, a subjective argument, interpretation-wise, like, you can be able to make some pretty fair, reasonable arguments. For one, how intelligent he is. 2, literally how many wars he was in. 3, like his masters was Hashirama and Tobirama, you know, which their whole fucking shtick was fighting against the Uchiha and everything in him, so it'd be really weird and disingenuous to think that it's not a strong possibility. So I definitely feel that with Arrow. That's a pretty good argument to pull up and whatever, but let's see how 6 basically combats and goes and provides his armor, whatever, and go from there. But, you know, like I said, if I was arguing for Itachi, it'd be as simple as, well, if Itachi's faster, you know, and more stronger to skills over here, then he could just be able to force him to look in his eyes either way, you know what I mean, or whatever. And that's basically it, you know, GG's. And that's it, you know what I mean, just simple. You know, the only way that would not be the case, and this is if Arrow won those points beforehand, is if they're on similar scaling or relative or equal to each other, okay, then that could be a problem. You know what I mean? So, but like I said, you have to prove that line of scaling, and if you can't prove that line of scaling, then it doesn't fucking matter. So, it's basically where you're at. But anyways, let's see what happens from here. I love looking at a goddamn freaking black screen. You know what? Instead of looking at a freaking black screen, I should just do this. Like, I'm capping. I should just do this. Dead ass. There we go. Now we got some background at least. You know? Oh, actually, if I do that though, then we can't hear the.
Can someone whoever that is, can you mute your mic, please?
I'd have to have it on the other thing. That sucks. Fuck. Well, actually, no. Oh, I'm an idiot. There we go. Now I can have the audio and still have a viewable. There we go. I'm an idiot. So I got it. Bro, I think it's Arrow that's playing video games right now while debating. This man thinks he's so good he can win a debate while playing a video game. That's crazy. Crazy. I'll be honest though, he's doing well enough though and good enough to be able to multitask and play a game and debate at the same time, and how he's doing as of now as well. Definitely impressive. He's doing really good. I can never be able to do that. If I'm playing a game, I gotta give all my attention on that, or if I'm debating, I gotta give all my attention on that. This is how I am. Unless I'm going against a really, really bad debater or low tier debater, then I could also be able to do that. You know, but that would only work for someone that is either trash or a low tier debater. You know, 6, he's not a trash debater. He's a good debater. So, you know, but I don't know. All right, we have a long period of fucking silence. Let me skip. Damn, they went quiet.
What? No, it says because it says.
No, I think it's right here. We'll get some juicy action. Oh my goodies.
Yeah, this comes from his reputation as the professor, correct?
What? No, it says because it says he uses all techniques.
Yeah, and that comes from his professor reputation, like Orochimaru says.
Where does it say that at? Where does she say that?
Yeah, I'll grab it for you. Do you care if it's Viz or
I really don't like this.
Yeah, I got you. It's fine. I'm pretty sure it says the same thing in Are you fine with the manga panda?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it says the same.
Are you talking about this scan right here? You're the one nicknamed Professor because you knew and could perform all existing Konoha jutsu.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is Viz.
Yeah. So what is the problem?
Okay, when did he gain this title? And did Guy have the technique developed when he gained it?
Hello?
Yeah. Am I cutting out?
I think I cut out. What'd you say?
Okay, I said when did he gain this title, and did Guy have the technique developed when he gained it?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, so then you don't know if he had it.
Yeah, how do you know Guy developed the technique? Are you asserting that Guy created that?
Guy says he made it.
No, he didn't.
He did.
No, he didn't. Prove it.
Yeah, Guy did say, yeah. I think he did.
I can tell you he didn't.
If he doesn't say it, I'll admit I'm wrong. But I'm sure he says, I developed
show me
these.
that, please.
I think 6 is right, though. I'll pull up the scan from Guy. I have it too, so.
Hold on.
I'll pull it up right now, baby. So 6 says that Guy stated basically he's the one that got it, whatever, blah blah, or he made that thing, which that's not the case. So Arrow is right on that. So either way, that's basically it is what it is. It's just basically all that is really said, and I'll even show it for you guys too, because why not? Might as well. One momento. Okay, you guys can see it here, and then I'll do go up. Okay, I can't click it because it's a thing. While they're in scans too. While they're doing their thing, I'll show it here.
Obvious. I've already mastered counter strike techniques for my.
So this is the statement that they're referring to right here. So like I said, once more, when you go against the Sharingan, you only need to avoid meeting your opponent's eyes. Just keep your side on their feet at all times, and you can still read their movements and react. Now that you mentioned about blah, whatever, he's like, but you're probably the only one of us who is any good at it. He's like, I suppose so. You simply need to acquire the knack for discerning blah, blah. Okay, but in this point, you need to figure it out and get to it. So that's basically all it is. So Arrow definitely is correct. The guy never says, oh, I'm the one that created this, blah, blah, or anything like that. That's not the case. And then not only that, this what Arrow could say, I don't know if he is going to do it or not, to further prove this, that it's definitely likely a strong possibility that Hiruzen does know how to do this as well, because he's the fucking Hokage, the professor, and super intelligent, you name it. And also, aware of the Sharingan, the Uchiha, Tobirama, Hashirama was his masters, the whole war. There's so much fucking evidence. And even the Raikage, mind you, the Raikage even says, I'm not, what's it called? I won't look into your Sharingan's eyes, blah, blah, I'm not stupid. You know what I mean? And he says that to Madara. Okay? So, there's that basically, you can kind of go from there. And that's basically, what you got. And then eventually when he fights against Mangekyo Sasuke, while Sasuke has 3 Tomo, Raikage's looking dead at his eyes, and he's like, a mere Sharingan is not enough to place me in Genjutsu, blah, blah, whatever. Basically implying that Sasuke would have to do a Mangekyo Genjutsu in order to be effective, which is kind of further proven when Madara does his Mangekyo. He doesn't do 3 Tomo, he just does Mangekyo. But either way, you have all that. So, there's other people that are aware of what the Sharingan can do and to not look into their eyes. There's even Anbu, people that, Danzo's Anbu that said, oh, we won't look in your eyes. That's why we came up with a strategy to hide our eyes, blah, blah, and yada, 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 whatever. And then Itachi was still able to do Genjutsu on them because he looked in their eyes beforehand with a Sharingan and just placed it as a contingency plan. And so when they went to fight him, regardless of him looking at their eyes at that moment, he could still activate it. So definitely Arrow has that in the bag. I'll give him that. I'm just going to check before. Yeah, he says, I've already mastered counter Sharingan battle techniques from all my bouts against Kakashi. So Arrow definitely is correct on that. But let's continue.
This is the
Doesn't say he created them.
It doesn't. Strange. Okay. Well, why do you think Hiruzen employs these in combat or applies these in combat?
Because he knows them all.
So why does that mean he applies it in combat? He didn't use
because if he's fighting Itachi, he would use what was the best.
I think
we haven't seen him apply them in combat because we haven't seen Hiruzen fight somebody with the Sharingan.
Okay, so then how do you know he would apply it in combat?
Because he has them. Because he would use anti-Sharingan tactics because he knows what to use to counter certain techniques.
Why? Maybe he's so cocky against Itachi that he just doesn't feel like.
All right. Do you think he's so cocky? Okay, prove that. Prove that assertion.
I didn't assert.
Prove that. Okay, so then I'm not asserting. I'm not saying he's so cocky. Then if you're not saying he's so cocky he wouldn't use it, then why are you talking?
I'm saying this is also a possibility.
Okay, so you're appealing to possibility.
No,
so I'm gonna dismiss it.
No, because
you are.
No.
Okay, so you're not Are you claiming something or what? Are you trying to counter the point or not?
Yeah, I am because you're saying.
Okay, with what? You're trying to counter my point with what?
Okay, listen. You're saying that Hiruzen will employ these in combat, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm saying he has. I said that he has counter Sharingan techniques.
Okay, so are you not claiming he employs them in combat?
I said that he has counter Sharingan techniques.
That's fine. If you're not gonna say that he like applies them in combat, then it doesn't matter.
I'm saying that he has counter Sharingan.
So,
Are you saying that he would not?
So yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense. 6 is definitely wrong on that. So what Arrow is saying is that Hiruzen has anti-Sharingan counter techniques or whatever, blah blah, which makes sense. Okay, for X and Y and Z amount of evidence, etc. And the line of evidence that he used is with Hiruzen knowing all, jutsu, blah blah, whatever the professor, etc., etc. Right? Okay, so that's one form of evidence you can use. There's way more better, stronger, concrete evidence to prove that claim as well. But regardless, that's fine. He at least showed something, whatever. Great. So with 6 though, he's like, oh, okay, you said that, but you need to also claim he will use it in combat. That's literally like that doesn't make any fucking sense. If he's making the claim that he knows anti-Sharingan tactics, blah blah, meaning therefore, yes, he would use that in combat. Why would he not? If he knows it, why would he not do that against someone that literally has a Mangekyo fucking Sharingan? Or going against the likes of Itachi, out of all people, when Hiruzen is very well aware of how powerful Itachi and Shisui are as an Uchiha, you name it, etc. Respects them, respects Fugaku, you name it, like, aware of the whole legendary reputation of the Uchiha, you name it, blah, blah, like, Hiruzen's not an idiot, he's not going to underestimate, that's completely out of character, etc. So, definitely would give that to Arrow. That doesn't make any sense. So, no, he does not have to make the claim that he will use it in combat. Like, that doesn't make sense. That contradicts of what Arrow is even formulating his argument to begin with. So yeah, no, 6 is capping on that. Like he's basically what's happening right now is 6 is backed into a corner, okay, and he's basically just being really weird right now and just saying some stupid shit. So
implies them in combat.
No, I'm not saying.
Okay, then why are you bringing it up?
Okay,
why are you trying to put words in my mouth? All I said is that he has counter Sharingan techniques.
Oh, yeah, I definitely
so you agree with that? That's all I'm saying.
I definitely misunderstood you. I thought you were saying that he would.
Okay, so then let's move on.
Okay, but
let's move on.
Okay, all right. But I'm saying if you're not going to say
okay, so we're moving on. So we're moving on.
Bring it up?
So we're moving on.
Yeah,
okay,
we got.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
cool, excellent. Do you have any other points that you want to bring up?
Not really. Do you?
You know what's funny?
Nope.
Arrow sounds like Geese. The Chainsaw Man that's on my Discord server, they sound very similar. I don't know if I'm capping on that, but they do. I swear to God, they sound the same.
You want to go to conclusions?
Yeah, we can just go to conclusions. You want to conclude first?
Sure. So in conclusion, I believe that I proved how fast he...
Bro, 6 didn't even mention like Amaterasu or Susanoo. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck does Hiruzen even do against that, bro? like even if you were like able to prove that like Hiruzen is in similar scaling or relative to Itachi, which is blatantly not the case. Okay, what's it called? Like, literally, like, I'll be 100% real with you. Fucking, you could just do like a Amaterasu or Susanoo, and then he's dead. Like, what the fuck does he do? You know what I mean? Like, then there's no relativity or equal grounds. You know what I mean? Like, you feel me? So, like, I'm surprised he didn't mention any of those arguments. And that's just really weird that he didn't. Like, the one thing I will also put into consideration, since we're going into conclusions, the debate's about to end for at least part 1. Apparently there's a part 2 to this, so we'll have to check that out and then finally give a final verdict of who won overall. What's it called? But either way, you know, when 6 was mentioning the fact that, like, oh, you don't think, like, Hiruzen could just get cocky and think he'll be okay, blah, blah, whatever, and then get fucked, which I'm going to be real with you. If the Raikage, like, got cocky and made a statement to, you know, MS Sasuke and was basically like, oh, I'm your Sharingan, can't do nothing to me, blah, blah, whatever, okay, then, you know, like, it is, I guess, you know, like, if 6 was to use that evidence and show it, which this doesn't matter now because he didn't, but let's say he did, you know, and then kind of bring that up, that could be like a fair assertion to show that Hiruzen could potentially underestimate or be cocky enough to think he won't be affected by at least a 3-tomo Sharingan, you know what I mean, or whatever, and then fucking, you know what I mean, that he just get bodied and fucked, just exactly what happened to Orochimaru. Because Orochimaru was cocky and dumb enough to look at the fucking eyes. Like, he was an idiot. I don't know why Orochimaru even did that. Now, Orochimaru would have still lost, okay? But, you know, like, it's blatantly stated and supported narratively, etc., the whole 9 yards. But, like, either way, like, you know, I'm just putting that out there. So, like, I get what he was saying. But if he just did better to formulate his arguments or show certain lines of evidence, like, for subjective arguments to prove the possibility that Hiruzen could do that, then, you know, he could have won that point, and then there you go. Hiruzen would have done it, and then he loses definitely by Tsukuyomi, or even a 3-tomo Sharingan visual genjutsu. The visual genjutsu with 3 Tomo was able to fucking shit on Orochimaru. You know what I mean? So let's put it out there. But either way, it is what it is. Blah blah. You know, whatever. We're gonna hear the conclusions, and I'll give my final thoughts on this overall.
Hiruzen was 6 pass never gave any quantification for how fast Itachi was. I also proved that Hiruzen has a wealth of more techniques, and he also has counter Sharingan techniques. So I argued that through the fact that he has counter Sharingan techniques, I believe that he would win, along with him being faster and having more techniques overall. All my opponent had really as a win con was Tsukiyomi and scaling above Orochimaru. And that's why I believe I won this debate.
So in conclusion, I said that Itachi's over Orochimaru, which my opponent didn't seem to have a problem with. And then we went into this point about if Hiruzen actually speed blitzed Oro or not. And I think my opponent agreed that that was travel speed that he blitzed him with, because we see that they can keep up with each other in terms of taijutsu or kinjutsu, hand-to-hand combat, swords, whatever. We then went on this point about Hiruzen being fatigued, and I think I provided reasoning as to why he shouldn't be, given that shinobi don't have access to 100% of their chakra at all given times anyway. So a decrease doesn't necessarily have to lead to you being weakened. And an alternate interpretation to the shortening of his lifespan, right? By saying okay, well, maybe it's in reference to Hiruzen being Hiruzen maybe could live to be 80 years old, but now that he used his jutsu, his lifespan is 75 years old, right? And then that would just go off of my other statement about how shinobi don't have access to their chakra at any given time. I brought up Tsukiyomi as a win con. Era said that Hiruzen has anti-Sharingan countermeasures, but he didn't say he would use them in combat, so I don't see how that matters. And that's why I think I won the debate.
What up, guys? Welcome to the Just Pearly Things YouTube channel.
Yep, it is over. Another video started playing, so but yeah, so that'll basically be that. So we'll kind of exit out of this, and I'm gonna be real with you. You know what I mean? Fucking, there you go. That's what you got. So apparently there was a part 2. I don't know why. In my opinion, just from judging that alone, 6 did win the debate. So just spoiler alert, 6-1. So just kind of putting that out there. And the main reason why 6 even won the debate. Arrow did win a certain amount of points that were being discussed that I literally said in the video while you guys were watching. But the most important points is the scaling points and etc. Yada yada. 6 provided plenty of evidence of consistently them having feats to go blow for blow, you name it, blah blah. Even while Hiruzen eventually has the consent to kill and a mental amp, you name it. Okay, and Orochimaru was still able to go blow for blow, blah blah, you name it. 6 provided that evidence. He even talked about it and brought that up as well. Okay, while Arrow's only line of defense and evidence was oh well, he has his soul, blah blah, whatever, and gets the upper hand, yada yada. So therefore now he's over and etc. That doesn't make any fucking sense. So overall, 6 explained thoroughly, provided his evidence. Arrow just made 1 point and claim and said his explanation and evidence, and there you go. And 6 was definitely stronger from at least what I heard, because they didn't visually have all the scans available and whatnot. That's basically it. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. So 6 won the scaling points, and that's the most important aspect of this debate. If you win the scaling points, then guess what? Itachi could just slam it any way. It could be a kunai, ninjutsu, hacks, Sharingan, whatever. Okay, you fucking name it. All right. So that's basically as simple as it gets. That easy peasy lemon squeezy. There is so many fucking ways you can be able to easily prove that Itachi would slam fucking Hiruzen. It's not even a competition. It's a fucking joke. And it's basically as far as you really get. I do feel like Edo Hiruzen is more interesting of a debate. That's more beneficial for if you're going to be on this stance for Hiruzen. Itachi still wins in my opinion, but I do feel like Edo Hiruzen is a lot better of an opponent and matchup to go against someone like Itachi. If you're going to even debate it, period. That's who I would take, if I wasn't taking Itachi. It'd be Edo, not Alive. Alive is shit. But yeah, that's basically what you got. It is what it is. They both did very well, performed very well. They're clearly both capable debaters. I'll give them that. Say that, you name it. We should all know that. I before I even debated even Arrow, I was told many times that Arrow's a good debater, blah, blah, whatever you name it. Six, that's a no-brainer. I've seen, you name it, etc. So, but either way, we're going to end this video here. I hope it wasn't too long for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the reaction video as well. Make sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below. Subscribe for more content. Subscribe to the channel. And as always, any recommendations are would be great. You know what I mean? For any videos you want me to check out and watch and react to, for any videos that you want me to like make a video about, or when it comes to productive purposes, let me know. I'm all ears, all game. I'm here for you guys, for entertainment purposes and obviously to, please and appeal. So, but yeah, that's basically will be it. And that been out. Peace.